Hi, my name's Richard Holt, and I thought we'd have a bit of a look at how to get back to training after an enforced break such as we've had with this third lockdown. Lots of athletes have been trying to train as hard as they possibly can, but it isn't quite the same when we haven't got access to a track or other facilities on which we do our normal training. For months we've had athletes getting out and training hard, whether it be lifting weights in rucksacks because they haven't got access to a gym, jumping off walls, running up hills, running on roads, and even in some cases running on a road literally right next door to a track where they can see a nice empty track just sitting there. There's been no proper training, no jumping into pits, no using starting blocks, no hurdling on spacings, no throwing javelins or discuses. Most people haven't been able to get to a gym and lift weights. And now we're all in a position where we can start again, so we have to be really careful and think how we're going to do this to make sure it all goes as smoothly as possible. Having done the training that we can, we're now in a period where we have to get a bit more specific and try and get back into the routine we had before. But if we go too fast, we risk causing some problems. So this is what we'll think about in the next couple of minutes. For most of us, we'll have a period of about 4 to 6 weeks before we start any competitions. So now we need to think about how we're going to get used to that. In particular, we need to get used to something that feels a bit more like our competitive atmosphere. So distance runners will have to get used to running with other people around them. Sprinters will have to get used to using blocks again. Hurdlers running on their full spacings. And jumpers and throwers getting used to landing in pits and to throwing the equipment they normally do. The temptation is going to be to dive straight in and say, yes, we're back. The problem is that if you do that, you may well totally overdo it. Just the sheer action of running again in spikes on the track is going to give your calves a lot more stress than they might get on the road. Or at the very least, it's going to be a different stress. It's going to take our bodies quite a while to get used to the pounding of being on a track again, whether that be landing off a hurdle, pushing hard off blocks, taking off in a jump, or just running around the track repetitively on a rubberized surface, which our bodies aren't used to doing. It's going to be important to ease in gently, particularly if you haven't been able to do a huge amount of training during lockdown. Try and make sure you work on technique. Enjoy training with your training partners, even if it's socially distanced. And make sure you don't overwork. The worst thing you can do now is train harder than ever before. You're only going to regret it if you get injured. Finally, make sure you set your expectations for the season at a realistic level. We're all coming out of a really traumatic period, and the last thing you're going to do is be able to smash all your PBs straight away. Work on the process and accept that things aren't going to be perfect straight away. You will thank yourself both physically and mentally in the long term. The last thing you want is to go back to how you were in lockdown. Good luck for the season ahead. I hope you all do really well.